Now, we all know that one of the best ways to avoid a cluttered home is to not bring clutter into it in the first place. But when you're out shopping, how do you avoid buying stuff on impulse? How do you know if something is a good purchase or not? How do you know if something is going to end up as clutter or not? Here are some questions to ask yourself to make sure that what you're bringing into your home is not going to sit around taking up space and gathering dust. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura and I help you live a simpler, happier, more spacious life. And the first question on this list is something that I have mentioned reasonably recently, but I do want to add a little bit to it. So if you've heard it before, stick with me. There are layers. It is, would I still buy this thing if I couldn't share it with anyone? If nobody knew that I was buying it, if nobody knew that I had it, would it still mean as much to me? This is something that has really opened my eyes to the amount of things that I buy or have bought in the past that I really did for someone else, you know, for the kind of picture that it portrayed of me. I mean, look, we've all done it. Trendy items, the latest technology, gizmos, gadgets, etc. That's why brand names, you know, do such a good job. That's why they make so much more money, because a lot of us are buying into the brand, or we're buying into the name. And listen, there's nothing wrong with having nice things, but sometimes we spend a lot more money than we need to, and we have things that take up a lot more space in our homes when we don't need them. So a good way to combat that, a good question to ask, which kind of follow on, is what am I expecting this thing to do for me? What are my expectations? What is the function that I need this thing for? Then it becomes a little bit more obvious that you need a bag just to carry things rather than a bag that looks nice. And maybe you do want to look nice, like maybe that is why you're buying that thing, but simply asking the question can very often differentiate between the thing that you need, you know, the thing that's going to do the job that you need it to do, and the thing that you're just buying because it looks nice or because it will look nice to someone else. If you're buying it more for what it says about you than what it does for you, chances are it's going to take up more space and more of your bank balance than you really need. Next one is a trap that I still fall into. I used to fall into it all the time when I was younger. I'm a little bit more aware of it now, but it still happens. That is, am I buying this thing to make myself feel better? Inevitably, when you go out shopping, you see something that you want and you end up buying it, and you get that kind of temporary shopper's high. You get that little buzz and it makes you feel artificially happy temporarily. One thing I do that kind of combats it a little bit is, if I do want to go shopping to make myself feel better, if I do want to kind of get out of the house and stroll around the shops or whatever, I will try and focus on things that can be used up or can be gifted. So I will go out and look for a gift for someone, you know, if there's a birthday coming up or some sort of holiday. I'm not buying them just for the sake of buying them, but I'm buying something that will be used. And the kind of layer, the deeper layer to this question is it about this specific item? Like, do I really want this specific item, or am I just after the feeling that this item will give me? Kind of ties back into that whole idea of choosing something not for what it will do for you in terms of practicality and functionality, but more so what it will do for you in terms of your mood or how you would be perceived by others. Prioritizing form and feeling over function. And again, for a lot of things, there's nothing wrong with form and feeling, but simply asking the question and bringing awareness to it may help you avoid making a purchase that is just going to take up space in your home and doesn't actually have any value to you. This next one also has so many layers. It's such a good question. What am I sacrificing to buy this thing? And it's not just the money that you have to hand over for it, but it's also about, you know, the time that it takes to, first of all, purchase it, to bring it home, to find a place for it, even just to peel off the stickers. Sometimes that's a pain. Can you tell I bought stuff yesterday and like struggled to get stickers off? Anyway, you have to make space for something. You have to maintain it. Like, what is it going to take to actually look after this thing? And it's easy to think, yeah, I'll just throw it up on a shelf and it'll be fine. But no, you have to store that thing. You have to clean that thing. You have to maintain it in some way. That might mean upgrading it or buying new accessories for it as time goes on. It might mean using a special cleaner, it might mean regular dusting. Something that would probably illustrate this point well is buying something that is dry clean only, or buying something that has pleats in it. I made this mistake years ago. I had a lovely pleated skirt, and completely obliviously, after I washed it, I threw it into the dryer, and then it came out just a skirt, like no pleats in it anymore. So all of those things have to be factored into your decision. I will now not buy anything with pleats, probably, unless I really, really absolutely adore it. And I will not buy anything that is dry clean only. So what is it going to take to look after this thing? And are you willing to trade your money, your time, your energy, your attention to this thing forever, or at least for the foreseeable? And then taking it a step further, what else could you use those resources for? You know, what else could you put that money towards? What else could you spend your time doing? What else could you utilize that space for? With everything that you buy, you are making a sacrifice. You are expending some of your resources, not just at the time you purchase it, but from here on out. And there are potentially better things that you could be doing with your money, your time, your energy, your space. Kind of following on from that then, a question that often stops me in my tracks is, would I pay cash for this? I mean, it's very easy to flash the plastic. It doesn't feel like real money. It's like you don't have that same sting of handing over cold hard cash. Or would you rather just keep that cash all to yourself, or to put towards something else? Another good question to ask, and this is a lesson that I have learned as the years have gone on, that is, does this item fit in with the lifestyle that I have and the aesthetic that I have? Let me explain. So I think it's okay to kind of like different styles. So there are plenty of different styles of homes that I love, and I found it so difficult for a long time to kind of marry those styles. So for instance, I generally like white, bright spaces with bright pops of color. But then I also love those kind of dark, moody rooms that have, you know, that rich mahogany, you know, beautiful mahogany desk, beautiful dark bookcases, a really cozy cave-like feeling. I also really love that kind of like shabby chic or French countryside cottage feeling. I struggled with this for so long because I was like, how can I have all of those things in my home and not have it look insane? And I realized that I don't have to have all of those things. I can admire some of them and then just pick one for my own home and make the most of it. And sometimes I can blend different things in, but I don't have to have all of them. That's really helpful for me now when I'm out and about and I see something that I really like, asking myself, will it actually fit in with the style of my home? How will it fit in? Where will it fit in? This realization that I can see something and like it and not buy it, just appreciate it for what it is, but know that it's not going to fit in with my lifestyle and the style of my home. That has stopped me making so many purchases that would have ended up as clutter. Think about how you live your life. What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the things that you enjoy looking at? What is the feeling that you're trying to create in your home and in your life? And does that thing fit into that vision? Ooh, this next one, if this one doesn't like stop you from making a whole bunch of impulse purchases, I don't know what will. Did I want this thing before I saw it? How many times have you gone into a store and seen something and thought, ooh, that looks great, maybe I'll get that, but before that day you had never even considered that thing, maybe you never even knew it existed, but now because you've seen it, you want it. Happens all the time. This happens to me specifically with storage containers. I'm out and I'll see some form of organizer and I'll think, ooh, that could be useful. I could use that to organize something random. But if until that point I had never thought to myself, oh, I really need some sort of divider or tray or something for this specific spot, then I don't need that thing. Shop for your actual wants and needs and not the ones that just seemingly crop up after you've seen that specific thing. But let's say you have wanted that thing, like it has crossed your mind previously, and then you saw one in store and you're thinking, I did actually think that I might want one of those. Ask yourself, how long, like for how long have I wanted this thing? If it's something that just randomly popped into your head the day before and then you see it in a shop, maybe you don't really need it. But if for the past few months it has regularly cropped up, like, oh, I must get a particular thing to solve this particular problem, and then you go out one day and you see it, then yes, it's probably a good purchase as long as you've, like measured and whatever. But yeah, if you have never wanted it before you saw it, or it did cross your mind, but like once recently, chances are you probably don't need it. You're probably going to get it home and not have a place for it or not have a use for it. And then could you use something else instead? The amount of times that I've thought, this might be handy, but then asking yourself, okay, well, if I don't buy this thing, what will I do without it? And the answer is either life will go on, or I will use that other thing that I have that does pretty much the same job. Or maybe, I only use this thing once a year and my neighbor always lends me hers, or whatever it is. But is there something else that will basically do the same job? Or if you don't buy this thing, how is your life going to be negatively affected? Chances are it's not. Now, we've already talked about asking yourself that question, could I admire this thing and then just leave it behind? But another great thing to ask yourself is, will I still be happy with this purchase in 6 months? It's very easy to get wrapped up in the moment and to think like, oh, this is so beautiful, this is going to change my life. But taking a step back, having a slightly more objective perspective, may be the difference between you buying something that you never use and buying something that is going to last, is going to stand the test of time. So 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, how is this thing going to fit into your life, or will it still fit into your life? You want something that is not just going to create current happiness, but also future happiness. Now, obviously these questions are designed to stop you from cluttering up your home with stuff you don't need, but the wonderful side effect is that you're also going to save money. And if that's something that you're looking to do, then check out this video. It's all the ways that I save a lot of money on a regular basis. This one's an oldie but a goodie, so click on over there. And until then, gur mila maithagwebh. Agus feici mé sibh go luath. Slán!